This unusual rocket-shaped building is known locally as the Pepper Pot. It is, however, possibly the oldest medieval lighthouse in the UK. Where is it, and where on earth am I? Find out in just a moment. Today, our home-hunting duo have decided to swap city life for island life.
Oh, you've got such a good panoramic view.
Yeah. And in one of our prospective homes, not everything is as it seems.
It looks so much wider down here than it does from up above.
Today I'm on the Isle of Wight, and this is St Catherine's Oratory on the southernmost tip of the island. It was built in 1328 by a local landowner called Walter de Godderton as a penance decreed by the Pope because de Godderton stole 55 casks of wine from a shipwreck. Not only was he meant to pay for the construction of the tower, but also for the upkeep of a priest who had tended the light and prayed for the souls of sailors lost at sea. And this practice went on for 200 years until the Reformation in the 16th century. But this little slice of fascinating medieval history is not the only thing on this beautiful island. The Isle of Wight is situated in the English Channel, around 3 miles from England's South Hampshire coast. England's largest island, 80% of it is devoted to agriculture, with a myriad of fields separated by clusters of ancient woodland. The water also plays a significant part in island life, with Cows Week, one of the biggest regattas in the yachting calendar, taking place in the coastal town each August, as it has done for almost 200 years. There are also stretches of beautiful shoreline and walking paths circumnavigating the island. Freshwater Bay to the west is a stunning pebble and sand beach, bordered by jagged chalk cliffs, a classic shoreline for taking a stroll and drinking in the view. Also on the west side is the dramatic rock formation the Needles. Here, a chairlift transports visitors high above the coast and back down again, offering a bird's-eye view of the chalk stacks, the Needles lighthouse, and the rainbow-coloured sands. As well as the natural beauty of the island, there are also charming villages such as God's Hill with its historic thatched cottages, where nature and architecture combine to make the Isle of Wight an escapee's delight. Considering it's ringed round by this gorgeous coastline and the centre is full of these lush, rolling hills, the Isle of Wight is the perfect rural retreat. Particularly when you think about the prices here. The average price for a detached house on the island is £7,000 less than the national figure, coming in at £264,000. And that's even more striking when you think that across the water, across the Solent in Hampshire, an equivalent property would set you back another £100,000. So what about our house buyers this week? What are they looking for? Let's meet them and find out. Hilary and Rennie from Cambridge met through work when they were both based in the same RAF unit.
We met not far down the road at the Royal Air Force Hospital at Ely. She didn't like me at all.
That's not at all true. We knew each other because it was a small unit, and so all the single people used to get together. And I remember saying to a friend, that's the sort of guy I can see myself marrying. And little did I know.
We met in 1975.
Wow.
And we got married in 1978, and here we are.
Hilary and Rennie have been in their current 4-bed detached house on the outskirts of Cambridge for 11 years. Their 2 grown-up sons both live and work near Oxford.
The whole area has absolutely exploded with new builds.
It is really busy.
It's just getting fuller and fuller.
Oh, really loved living here. It's really lovely, but it's not near the sea. So
No.
that was where we need to go next.
Our couple have now moved on from the RAF, but their time spent living in different towns and countries means that they haven't really put down roots.
Having been on the move all our lives, I suppose we're ready to move somewhere else. There's nothing to keep us here, so we're off to the seaside.
And with happy memories of past holidays by the sea, they've decided that they'd love to call a small island home.
Isle of Wight. Definitely the Isle of Wight.
It's a case of we are moving to the Isle of Wight. We've made the decision. We've been there on numerous occasions to the music festival. We've had a couple of holidays there with the boys when they were a lot younger. There's nothing about the Isle of Wight not to like.
Their two sons may not be joining them in their move, but there are two other family members who will also be packing their bags. 8 months ago, Hilary and Rennie inherited their two dogs, Floss and Carlsberg, from their eldest son.
We went to pick them up, opened the car door, and they jumped straight in. It was as if we'd known them all their lives, you know, and they're lovely, they're delightful.
And once they're retired and in their new home with more time on their hands, both of them are planning to add to the hobbies they currently enjoy.
I'm looking forward to cycling. You've got all the coastal walks, which we're looking forward to.
That's my vision.
You know? Yes,
walking
it is,
along
isn't
the prom.
I enjoy fly fishing and sea fishing. There's not a lot else that you can do that is just so relaxing.
With their house sold, there's nothing stopping our buyers from finding a home near the water. And wherever they end up, they're planning for it to be the final time they pack up and move on.
We are hoping that this will be our last move. But having spent all of our lives travelling around, who knows? We would like it to be our forever home, but I think once you're used to travelling so much, who knows what's around the corner, which is what's exciting about it.
It is exciting.
Hilary and Rennie have asked us to concentrate our search on the southeast coast of the island, which they love, and where there are good transport links back to the mainland. So, before we get stuck into this rather exciting hunt for a home by the sea, I'm meeting them both on the island to go over their property wish list. Welcome to the Isle of Wight.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for bringing us here. I can't remember the last time I came here. What sort of a property are you looking for?
Well, we're quite open-minded about the type of house, but we need 3 bedrooms, and I think a big enough garden for a few tents, because I think we'll be inundated with visitors if we can't accommodate them all in the house.
Oh, we have 2 dogs. We have 2 little dogs that must be taken into consideration. So a short walk to the sea would be nice.
What about the location? Are you looking to be in a village or out in the sticks? Not that anywhere's too remote here on the island.
No, I think as long as we've got reasonable access to the sea. I mean, if we could walk to the sea, that would be a huge bonus. But then there's some lovely inland areas too.
I would like somewhere perhaps that's got a workshop or some outbuildings, just so I can perhaps start a new hobby or somewhere to keep my fishing tackle and bikes.
Hilary, anything on your wish list?
You would like to overlook the back garden from the kitchen?
Yeah, I'd like to do that. Currently, our kitchen is out at the front of the house, and you don't think that's a problem until you've lived with it.
Right.
So.
Okay. And in terms of style, are you fussed about old or new? Or?
No, not at all.
You're very easygoing, aren't you? It's going to be a joy showing you houses. So it seems from just reading between the lines that really it's the kind of location by the sea that's absolutely key for you.
It is, yes. That is the main reason why we're coming here.
Yeah. What is your budget again? Remind us.
Our budget for the move is £350,000.
Very healthy on the island. Great. Well, we found, I think, 3 really lovely houses. And all that remains is for you to say, yes, we want to move.
Yes, we want to
we
move.
want to
We
move.
definitely want to move. Have we found the house for you? Let's go and find out. Follow me.
Thank you.
Hilary and Rennie have a good budget for the island, which will hopefully give them everything they want. They're pretty open-minded, but they'd like a detached home with character that has at least 3 bedrooms, and Hilary would love a kitchen that opens onto the garden. Rennie wants a shed or workshop, and they'd be thrilled if they were a 5 or 10-minute walk from the sea. They'd be happy with a garden big enough to put up a couple of tents if they have more visitors than bedrooms, and wherever they move needs to suit their dogs too. Our couple can't wait for their move across the water, and we've got 3 totally different potential homes to show them. And only after they've viewed each one will they discover its price. The final visit will be to the mystery property, which always veers slightly off track, but with today's offering, we're definitely sailing pretty close to the wind. So you worried about coming to the island? Because some people are kind of a bit worried about being cut off.
No. Because I don't feel that we are cut off. It's 40 minutes on the passenger ferry. I mean, living in Germany is cut off from England.
That's true. That is true. We're starting our tour of the Isle of Wight right in the south of this lovely island, in the village of Knighton, just a 6-minute drive from the sea at Castlehaven. Castlehaven is a beautiful stony beach which would provide fabulous walks with the dogs whatever the season, and the opportunity for Rennie to get his fishing rod out. Back in Knighton, there are a few shops as well as friendly pubs, and the opportunity to become part of the small, thriving community. Our first house is situated down a lane just off the main street in the village, and it's this charming stone cottage.
Oh, that's lovely.
It's a good one, isn't it?
Never expected anything with
No,
a
it's
thatch.
thatched as well.
It's thatched, but it's also attached. So this half is not yours.
Oh, right.
But from the chimney stack that way is yours. So you've got a bit of thatch and then a Victorian extension. So the actual old part of the house dates back to 1604.
Well, it's certainly nothing like the married quarters we've lived in.
No, not at all.
No.
I can't wait to get inside.
Shall we?
Yes, please.
This delightful Grade 2 listed semi-detached cottage contains a wealth of period features behind its walls. And a primrose yellow front door takes us straight into the dining room.
Oh, this is lovely. Oh, flipping heck. Look at this.
What do you think,
I
Hilary?
love it. I love it.
This would have been where everybody lived, the family around the fire. And then this at the back is what we used to call a scullery kitchen. So it was a smaller kitchen where the food preparation took place. But let's have a look. So you go up these lovely steps and a stable door.
There isn't really a view of the garden as such.
Is it too compact?
I don't think it's too small. I think it's workable.
You do have a utility through here, and then you do have a downstairs bathroom. So this is also a talking point.
All right.
No upstairs bathroom.
No.
Okie doke.
OK, so a little question mark over the bathroom, as expected. But let's continue next door to the extension. On the other side of the house, a mere youngster, added 300 years after the kitchen, is the sitting room.
I like this.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
You like it?
Yeah, I don't like big sprawling lounges. I like them to be quite cosy. And it's beautifully square. It's just so not what I ever thought I would like. And I actually do like it.
Well, it's always nice to be pleasantly surprised. So hopefully that will continue upstairs, where there's a long, narrow single bedroom and a small double. Then, above the dining room, in the oldest part of the house, there's the master.
Oh, it's lovely, isn't it?
So again, the whole family would have lived up here, because this would have been the only upstairs room. And the old staircase came up through this door. This is now storage through there.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Can you imagine waking up here? That's the question.
I can.
But it's old. I mean, it's definitely up in the eaves. You
It's
can see all the
definitely-
little beams.
Yes,
Yes,
it's
indeed.
old.
You know, is that something you're comfortable with?
I'm not so sure, but I think you're loving it.
I think it's lovely. I really do. I think it's what a beautiful house.
Although they'd like a house with character, having only lived in modern homes, Hilary is taking a little time to get used to this 400-year-old cottage. But would the other two members of the family in the move, Carlsberg and Floss, approve of the pretty garden? I mean, it's not a huge plot, but it's been beautifully landscaped. Because you've got a veggie garden and a shed, quite a big shed. Here you've got a tree house. You see?
Oh my gosh.
Built up there with a platform.
That is a
It's
beautiful
quite
garden.
tranquil, actually. It's quite a tranquil sort of garden.
What do you think it all costs?
Oh,
I don't know whether listed buildings command a higher price. But I'd go,
well, while he's
Oh, it's
thinking
lovely.
about it, I'll go for 295.
I was going to say 325.
So you say 325 and you say 295.
Yep.
Well, you'll be pleasantly surprised then that this is on the market for 275. So that gives you quite a lot of money to spruce it up or think about changing that bathroom.
Bathroom, yeah.
Why don't you look inside, because you didn't see the bathroom, and,
No.
and have a little poke upstairs to see whether it's feasible to move it upstairs, and then I'll meet you at the front.
Okay.
Lovely. Thanks very
you.
much.
This charming 3-bedroom listed cottage, which has stood for more than 3 centuries, is a hefty £75,000 under Hilary and Rennie's budget, leaving them with a good chunk of cash to really make the house their own. They wanted character, which this house is bursting with, plus there's a gorgeous garden that their dogs would love running around in. And it's also just a 6-minute drive to the sea.
Right, I reckon, if necessary, this could be turned into a bathroom.
There's 3 really good-sized bedrooms.
Yeah, but the compromise would be going down to 2 bedrooms and having this as an upstairs bathroom.
I was surprised to see a thatched property, but it looked lovely.
When we came in, I just loved every little bit of it. It's got a beautiful cottage feel, an absolutely super place.
The first room that's part of the kitchen is absolutely stunning.
It's definitely worth our full consideration. I think it's a beautiful property. The garden's lovely. I could just live here. I could feel myself being happy living here. There's just nothing not to like.
I think there is so much going for it, and I really love a load of it. But whether I can see us compromising on the bathroom situation, I don't know.
All done?
Yes, thank you.
So pull the door behind you because we've got another house to visit. Wow.
That's good.
If it's anything like this, Alistair, I'll be well happy.
Good.
I love it.
Keen fisherman Rennie couldn't have chosen a better spot to live than the Isle of Wight. With more than 60 miles of fishable coastline, he'll never be short of a scenic spot to drop his line. Like the coastal town of Ventnor in the south of the island, which was built and developed in the 19th century to support the small fishing industry off its coast, which is still thriving today. We've arranged for Hilary and Rennie to meet local fisherman Jeff Blake, who, like his father before him, makes a living from the fish and seafood abundant in the waters here.
Welcome to Ventnor Seafront.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How long have you been fishing here?
I've been fishing for 35 years now, ever since I left school, but I grew up on the seafront here and really been in a boat since I was that high. So, yeah, it's kind of in my blood.
And is fishing vital to Ventnor's economy?
The fishing industry is very important because people come here to eat the seafood. It's on the sale at all the pubs and restaurants, and it is, you know, a huge part of the tourist industry here.
So what's the main catch here in Ventnor?
We catch a variety of things here, from sea bass, Dover sole, but we also have a very good shellfish industry, and really top of the tree is the lobster.
Crab is the backbone of the fishing industry in Ventnor. Over 100 tonnes of the sidestepping crustacean is caught a year. But between May and August, things step up when it's lobster season. Jeff goes out to sea once a day to check his lobster pots. Today, skipper Lucy is taking them to some pots about 600 feet from shore to see if anything's bitten.
The southern coast of the island is very lucrative for lobsters, and they like to come, especially in the summer, into the shallows here where the water's warmer.
Although the lobsters like basking in good weather, so are more likely to crawl into the pots, in the winter months the poorer weather stirs up the nutrients in the sea, which feed the plankton that the lobsters feed on. So after a bad winter, summer stocks are boosted.
We've had 3 or 4 cold winters and then followed by a very stormy winter last winter, and that seems to have done the stocks a huge amount of good. We've seen a gooder lobster year as we've seen for 25 years.
How do you know exactly where to go and where to look?
Anywhere it is rocky, or if you go off to sea, anywhere that's shallow or high, lobsters like. But one of the most important things, especially when you want to catch big lobsters, you've got to go where no other fishermen have been for a while.
Jeff has around 400 pots lying on the seabed, and with years of experience under his belt, he knows exactly where to drop them to get the best haul. Some of his pots are up to 250 feet down, but here they're only about 15 feet underwater. Each one is pulled up by hand.
Well, we've got
wow.
little small edible crab, but unfortunately this one isn't big enough. We've got a gauge here which tells us that one's well undersized, so he goes back to grow for another day.
The crabs have to be 12 centimetres wide to be kept out of the water and sold.
Also in the parlour here we have a lobster. This looks a good sized one, I'm pretty certain it's big enough. This time we actually measure from the back of the eye socket to the back of the head, and as you can see this one's 5 or 6 mil within the minimum landing size. So Rennie, what we've got to do now is rebait this pot, so if you could pass me up a couple of the mackerel heads. Lovely.
The pot goes back in and Jeff will return to see if anything's bitten tomorrow. Time for Rennie to try pulling up a pot. First, he's got to grab the buoy that's attached to the pot and then haul the rope up. Not quite the same as fishing with a rod and line.
Well done, Rennie. That was a good bit of pulling there. We have got a tiny little lobster, look, a little baby one. This lobster's got a few shell changes to go before he's big enough for the plate.
Yeah.
Do the honours, Rennie.
Cheerio, mate.
With its vital statistics less than 8.7 centimetres, that little fellow might not have made the grade yet, but the ones that have are said to be some of the best on the island. And the fast-running tides on the south coast make the water clean and healthy, which the lobsters thrive on. Jeff catches 5 to 6 tonnes of lobster a year, and they sell for between £8 and £50, depending on their size and weight. Back on dry land, Hilary and Rennie can't wait to tuck in.
The essential part of trip to Venda is lobster on chips.
I've been looking forward to this, Jeff. I feel I've earned it pulling in that net.
You certainly have.
Have a try of this.
That's really meaty.
This is like the best prawn you ever had, isn't it?
Beautiful flavour. It's very decadent.
And this will definitely cement the reason for coming to the Isle of Wight.
It was an absolutely brilliant day.
Yeah.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. And we look forward to coming back here once we're on the island.
Yeah, we'll be back. Thank you,
Glad
Jeff.
to hear it.
For our second property, we're journeying just under 9 miles northeast to Shanklin on the island's southeast coast. The town has all the amenities one might need, and Shanklin Old Village, with its chocolate box thatched cottages, has some lovely walks which any four-legged friend would enjoy, plus an array of quaint shops. There's a pretty coastline with plenty of room for young and old to make the most of the views. Just a few minutes walk from the beach, in the Old Village, is our second house, and this time it's detached. A very different offering.
Goodness me. That is different to what we've seen.
Goodness.
Ooh, look, this is a very different face.
Wow, it looks huge.
It looks fabulous.
Is this more your cup of tea?
Probably.
No, there's no probably, is there, really? Let's be honest.
Well, this house is pretty much a new build. So it was built in the grounds of this house. Actually, this is portioned off. And it is an upside-down house. So the downstairs is the bedroom, and the upstairs, which has the views, is where you live. So let's look inside. This impressive stone house was only built around 14 years ago. It's decked out with smart wooden windows and a natural slate roof. Come on in. So all the bedrooms are here, and then come in here. This is the master.
It's huge.
God, it's big. And I spy a little ensuite there.
An ensuite with a shower. So what do you think so far?
Really lovely. It's a really well-maintained property.
Well, it's an upside-down house, so clearly the living quarters are upstairs. So let's go and visit those. Also on the ground floor is a family bathroom, a single bedroom at the front of the house, and a double at the back that overlooks the garden. Plus, there's a large outside office, which was once a garage. Moving upstairs, and we're starting off in the sitting room.
It's lovely.
Yep.
It's a very nice room.
Yeah, it is. It's lovely, isn't it? Impressive.
Impressive?
Impressive. Yes, indeed. I can just...
Yeah.
Yeah?
I just feel my wallet shrinking.
Across the hallway is the kitchen, which has windows on the 3 outside walls.
Goodness me, that is massive.
It's lovely. That is one big kitchen. I'm loving it.
Overawed, I think, is the word you're looking for.
I'm a bit.
Really? Oh, so it's hitting the spot, is it?
Very much so.
Excellent.
It's purely the budget.
And the dogs.
What's the problem with the dogs?
Well, obviously we're going to have to bring them in up the main stairs all the time, and they don't come back clean every time.
Well, that's OK. We'll just teach them to wipe their feet.
Oh, good luck with
You
that.
could build a little doggy. I mean, I have a hose. You used to hose our dog down outside.
That might be an idea.
Yeah.
Then they'll just have wet paws up the stairs.
Or the dogs could be carried up to the well-equipped utility room, also on this floor, and have their paws cleaned there. The first floor also has a dining room with access to a balcony overlooking the garden. This is the reason why they built it upside down. So you could have this.
See the sea.
And obviously in the winter, when the leaves are off, you can see the shoreline much more clearly.
Even better, yeah. Oh, you've got such a good panoramic view.
Yeah.
You're certainly not overlooked.
No, you are not overlooked. You're overlooking. So if you look here, you can see it's not a huge garden, but it's definitely space for a couple of tents.
Oh, that'll be, yeah, that's okay.
I feel like I've lost you both into some sort of netherworld of...
Yes.
I'm stuck on, we can't afford this because of the location and the size of the property.
I feel I want to put you out of your misery about the price because it seems to be hamstringing your enthusiasm. So how much do you think it's on the market for?
I would say it's significantly over budget. So I would say it's got to be nearer the 400. So I will go 385.
I'm going to be cheeky and I'm going to say 350, our budget, and hope you've been kind.
Well, you're both wrong, I'm afraid, because it's actually on the market for £325,000.
No, honestly?
Yep.
325.
325.
Superb. Lovely. I don't know what to say.
I can't say anymore.
Where do I sign the cheque?
So you're happy?
Very.
Well, I'm very happy you're pleased. We tried to please. But why don't you go and explore? Because downstairs there is that big office that might be good for the dogs. So have a wander round, go back in, and I'll see you downstairs.
Thank you. Lovely.
Thank you.
Oh, so sweet. They really were terrified that I was going to tell him it was like £400,000, and they're kind of over the moon now that it's not. This modern three-bedroom stone house is a surprising £25,000 under Hilary and Rennie's budget, giving them a good amount of cash to make changes for their precious pooches, if they so desire. The large office could also become the dogs' quarters. The house is not only detached, it's spacious too. The garden could easily house a couple of tents for visitors, and the views as well as the proximity to the sea are more than Hilary and Rennie could have hoped for.
Oh, wow. Come and have a look at this.
It's fantastic.
I mean, this is a workshop. It's whatever we want it to be. This is a man shed. Bagsy, it is mine.
I love the house. I really love the house. And I thought we couldn't afford it, but we can, so I'm really excited.
But when we came in the house, do you know what? This is, I think, is Hilary's dream house.
I think we've still got to think about how we're going to accommodate the dogs. Being an upside-down house, that will be something we've got to overcome.
I am going to have to tear you away. I know you love this one, but that's your lot for the day. Time for a little rest, and then tomorrow the Mystery House.
I look forward to that. Thank
It
you.
better be a good one.
It's the second leg of our trip around the Isle of Wight, searching out a home near the sea for Hilary and Rennie from Cambridge. They've got a healthy budget of £350,000 to spend on an island home for them and their two dogs. Coming up, I hope I won't be left high and dry when I reveal our mystery property. Are you warming to it at all?
I'd love to think that we could, or that we would.
And I'll be getting my hands dirty and feeling on top of the world.
That's pretty good for a beginner.
If I hadn't been doing this job for a while, I would have thought that we were signed, sealed and delivered with property 2 yesterday, judging by Rennie and Hilary's first reactions. However, I am picking up a little bit of what I call perfection heebie-jeebies. You find the perfect house, it's got everything you want, and then you think, maybe there's a house that's even more perfect somewhere else. And so then you start to find problems. In Hilary's case, that it's not quite right for the dogs. Okay, I don't think we're going to be able to solve that without actually showing them every house on the island, but with the Mystery House, we're going to show them something so different that it might just pull focus and make them decide. So what do you think the Mystery House is going to be?
Rennie's got an idea.
I've got 3 theories.
3 theories?
Yes, indeed.
Do share.
A lighthouse in need of
Renovation.
Perhaps something like a small B&B.
You'd love that. Mine host, wouldn't you? Or a boat. Maybe it's a boat.
You booty types?
Well, Rennie potentially would be.
More on a river than... I'd be a bit worried about the tide coming in.
travelling just over 7.5 miles northeast takes us to our third and final stop, Bembridge, on the island's most easterly point. With around 4,000 residents, Bembridge claims to be the largest village in England and has plenty of shops and eateries in its midst, as well as beaches along the attractive coast. There's also a striking harbour where we've come to unveil our last home. You will never guess what the mystery house is going to be. Well, you were almost there. You said a B&B and you said a boat. It's both.
It's a boat that's a B&B?
It's a boat that's a B&B. It was used actually by the Germans in the war and then completely revamped and remodelled to be a 5-berth living accommodation. And actually it's now run as a B&B very successfully.
Wow, amazing.
Do you know how much it made in August this year?
Got no idea
Wouldn't
of
have a
those
clue.
things.
£7,000.
Oh, my God.
1 month. Should we get on board?
Yeah, I'd love to.
This Dutch barge, constructed from iron and steel, was built in Holland in 1922 and weighs in at an incredible 140 tons. She's lived on the Isle of Wight for 8 years and will soon be anchored to a permanent berth in the harbour. Mind your head. Oh, here, the wheel room. Even if you're not going to buy it, it's got to be a good feeling to be at the wheel.
Indeed. Wonderful.
Here you get a bit of an idea of the layout. It's quite simple, really. It's like a big, long barge. And this area here is your outside space.
No lawn to mow.
No lawn.
Now I can see me just getting a load of AstroTurf down.
Well, this is our mystery house after all, and with some lateral thinking, anything is possible. Down a few stairs off the wheel room to the stern of the boat is the captain's cabin, now a master bedroom complete with an ensuite. Another stairway takes us below deck into an open plan area which includes the sitting room and a bona fide galley kitchen.
It's so big.
This big, isn't it? Surprising.
It looks so much wider down here than it does from up above.
Is it growing on you?
I think it's fabulous down here. And it's really big.
Yeah.
I mean, the kitchen
I love
area,
it. The
there's
kitchen's
loads
huge.
of space.
Yeah. Having spent time in a camper van, we know what you don't need.
Yeah. Below deck, there's also a shared bathroom and a separate shower room, plus a further 4 bedrooms, all benefiting from natural light flooding in through the windows, sitting above sea level. Little labyrinth of rooms.
Well, this is nice.
Oh, I love it. It's been beautifully dressed. You know, it really is a stunning-looking accommodation.
They've done all the rooms lovely.
Are you warming to it at all?
I'd love to think that we could, or that we would. I mean, our kids would love it.
Oh, they would. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Without
But
a
who
doubt.
wouldn't?
I can almost see the wheels turning in Hilary and Rennie's minds. They both clearly love this boat, but are wondering if it'll work for them and their dogs. This barge will soon be on a permanent berth, which means additional costs like insurance, council tax, and upkeep to consider. And even at a temporary mooring, houseboats incur extra expenses like mooring costs. Up on the deck, the vista is hard to beat. You have to admit that it's few properties where you get 360-degree view.
No, you can see, must be Portsmouth. Oh, what a lovely view. Oh, it's lovely.
It is
it's
beautiful.
lovely.
What do you think it's on the market for?
5-bedroom detached property.
Very detached. Stunning,
Sea view.
stunning sea views.
I would say it would be 390.
Ooh.
What do you think, Hilary?
I know it's got a sea view, but I'd go 300.
Well, in this instance, you're closer,
I am.
because actually this is the exact same price as the property yesterday afternoon. £325,000.
Really? If money was no object, then I'd go for it. I'd say yes straight away.
What, you and the
then-
dogs?
Yeah, yes,
But not your
yes.
wife.
Well, if we had the money, I'd go for this, and you could have house number 2.
Maybe 20 years ago, we may have had still some of that more adventurous street.
Yeah,
Go and explore. Who knows? Inspiration might strike you.
and we'll see you landside.
Ooh, dear. You've got all the lingo. This mystery houseboat has certainly lived up to its name and has given Hilary and Rennie a lot to think about. But although they love it, I'm not sure it's a style of living they'd want to experience. Although if they do, they'll have £25,000 left in the pot to cover any additional waterside costs. It's certainly got character and a good number of bedrooms, and I'm sure the dogs would find it a real adventure. As an existing B&B, it could make them money too, and the panoramic views are something that you just can't put a price on.
I would have loved to have said, yes, let's give it a go. But I do feel it's a few years too late now. And also, I think there would be too much of a worry on the financial side of things to really consider it as a viable proposition.
I would love to have the courage to take on something like this, but it scares me. We're not mariners. We've never had anything much to do with the coast. So, I mean, if we were sailors and knew about boats, then maybe.
It is a shame because it's absolutely lovely, and the price, I just couldn't believe, you know, $325 for what is effectively a little slice of recent history.
Get your land legs back on. There you go. Happy to be off or still entranced?
Oh, I love it. Love it, yeah. The longer I was on there, the more I wanted to stay on there. It's gorgeous.
You couldn't wait to get off.
It moves.
It moves.
It sways a bit.
OK, let's get back onto firm land and we can talk about all the houses.
Thank you.
The Isle of Wight has long been known for its seafaring links, and right in the heart of Cowes Boatyard, Chris Adams celebrates both land and sea in the artisan handmade globes he makes, both historical reproductions and modern-day versions. He uses techniques that have hardly changed for over 300 years to produce these beautiful keepsakes. Morning, Chris.
Good morning.
Oh, great spot to be talking
lovely,
about
isn't
maps, isn't it? If anybody needs maps and globes, these people
This
do.
is the place to come.
How did you get into making globes?
Well, I've always had a keen interest in maps and geography, and I was struck by the fact that there aren't any globe makers who make globes in the traditional method anymore. So I thought it was a great opportunity to keep alive a craft from centuries ago.
And this is one of your pieces?
This is one of my modern ones. I've made all the cartography myself using NASA satellite imagery and plotted all the place names myself, which was quite painstaking.
Beautiful thing. What is the history of globes?
Globe making was widely regarded as having started in Nuremberg in Germany in the 15th century.
So that shortly after Columbus works out that you can go around the world.
Yes, indeed, it wasn't flat as a lot of people thought.
As our ancestors discovered more about the world we live in, maps evolved to include their findings. Chris's historic globes use exact reproductions of maps from years gone by. This looks pretty old. When's this from?
That is from 1680.
And so what's missing at this stage?
Our knowledge was fairly sketchy, the Northwest Passage and Alaska, things that were discovered at a later date. You can tell when a globe was made by exactly what's missing in terms of geography.
And this one's even older?
Yes, this was from 1762.
This is, they don't even have Australia here. It's called New Holland.
Yes.
I didn't know Australia was called New Holland.
And a vague stab at New Zealand. They knew it was there, but they didn't know.
So when they don't know the shape, they just do a bit of coast.
Yes.
Chris has been making these beautiful spheres for 11 years, and he produces around 200 a year. He's shipped them to customers as far away as Australia and South Africa. This is your globe-making empire.
So, yes, this is where globes are made. This is how we do it.
So this is historically how they were made?
This is how they were made centuries ago. First of all, you have to line the mould.
So that's just normal plaster for walls, is it?
It's plaster of Paris.
Plaster of Paris, OK.
And when it starts to dry, it clings to the side.
Oh, I see. And then you end up with a shell of plaster.
You end up with a thin shell of fairly hard plaster. And that gives us the outer shell of the globe. Then when that dries, I join two together to give us our globe.
So that's literally all it is? It's just a shell of plaster?
Yes, yeah.
Isn't that terribly fragile?
It's a fairly hard-wearing plaster, and I also line it with card.
OK.
Which is how they used to do it as well.
The very first globes, centuries ago, were generally solid and very expensive, made from materials such as glass, marble, wood and metal. Then they became hollow, which makes them much more cost-effective and much lighter. Oh, look, here's one in process.
I started that one last night, so perhaps you would like to have a go and See if you can do one yourself.
God, you're very trusting of me. I wouldn't trust me to do it, but I will definitely have a go. The map itself is applied to the sphere in gauze, or sections with glue.
Just make sure every bit is covered.
So do you line up the equator?
Yep, let's start off on the equator. And then we take a stick to burnish it.
So across?
Across and down.
Presumably you're a bit quicker, are you?
Yes.
There you go. Quite stressful.
That's pretty good for a beginner.
Thanks, Chris.
That's my pleasure.
Wonderful. Who knew that globes could be so interesting? I'm impressed.
Very impressed.
I fear that the Mystery House is a ship that has sailed, or not, as the case may be. But house number 2 is a very strong contender. I'm just a bit worried that Hilary may have found some more reasons not to buy it. Let's go and find them and see what they think. Once again, thank you for bringing me to the Isle of Wight. It's just been gorgeous.
Been lucky with the weather.
And have we succeeded in sort of getting you hooked into the property scene? I mean, do you think there's a contender in amidst our choices?
The one yesterday,
Second house.
yeah.
Definitely the second house. Yeah.
It was the perfect location. The layout is not quite what we would choose, but we think there will be ways to get around it to make it work for us.
I think what we need to do is go and have another look, because we do have the dogs to consider. We have to see if things can be altered to accommodate them. But I think, in all fairness, number 2 is our house of choice. And I think we would certainly consider putting in an offer.
What's the sort of timescale? Because you've sold your house in Cambridge, is that right?
Yes, we have.
Well, we'd like to go back and see the house again, hopefully tomorrow. We'll have a look to see if things that need to be done are achievable. And hopefully, if all things are equal, then I think it'll probably take as long as it takes.
Well, that covers all the bases. Well, it's been an absolute joy showing you around, it really has. And I hope that you move here, because then maybe we can come and visit.
You'd be more than welcome.
I'm glad to hear it. The Isle of Wight. I have to say, I can't understand why we don't come here more often, because it's a beautiful location and the property is very reasonable. And I think that Rennie and Hilary, when they look around, and they haven't had a chance to look at too many properties, they will find out what a good deal property number 2 is, and hopefully move on it. Although I can't guarantee that. That is part of the jeopardy of the show, and I hope it's one of the reasons you tune in. So make sure you tune in next time for more Escape to the Country. Hilary and Rennie did revisit our second house, but decided that although they loved it, it just wasn't suitable for their dogs. But it did leave them wanting to continue their search in or near Shanklin, and they're already planning their next trip to the Isle of Wight. If you would like to escape to the country in Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales or England and would like our help, please apply online at bbc.co.uk/be on a show.